Hello, everyone. This is we will have 3 parts of our presentation, and I will first give a brief introduction of our Bytom blockchain. It's now one of the biggest assets-related public blockchain, and the total capital market capital is about $2 billion USD. And in the first part, our team member Fang will give an introduction about the Bytom's infrastructure and its design goal and its mission. And in the second part, Mu Yang will show the one camera, one vote, our new smart POW algorithm. And in the third part, Hou Yi will give some process and a new progress and our recruiting related events about this year about the Bytom. Bytom, MIT is a very special space. We know 9 years ago in MIT's cryptocurrency and digital currency related technical mail group, Satoshi Nakamoto just write the paper in this mail group called Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer cash system, electronic cash system. In his white paper, he gives 2 big innovations. One is the coin layer, digital currency. He make very valuable digital currencies which never exists, not linked to the physical world. And in the other world, and in the other innovation is blockchain just the railway, which can take the railways, take the trains and buses and all kinds of coins above it, and build up above on the blockchain. We can make a new economic systems. But this design also have some issues, because in the Bitcoin blockchain, it only supports one kind of assets. There is lots of other tokens, other of physical assets in our traditional world, such as bonds, bets. This still cannot run easily on the blockchain. And the second one is that in the digital world, in the geeks world, they have the anonymous systems. They do not consider some things about AML, KYC, these related things in our current real banks and financial systems. And the third, we know if Bitcoin blockchain have these deficiencies, so it's hard to link the physical assets to the digital network. And the third, we still have the issue. There is lots of comments about the POW. It's many engineers, entrepreneurs, and scientists think it's a big waste of energies and electricities. It's not friendly to the environment. It's not friendly to other industries. It does just the meaningless, harsh calculations. Seems it's very bad things. So how to solve this kind of things? We have Bytom blockchain. Then I will let Fang give a brief introduction of our Bytom blockchain and our designs, our infrastructures to meet the goals of a new assets internet.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fang, the Overseas Operation Manager from Bytom. And today I'm very honored here to introduce you one of the greatest blockchain projects from China. We're a very humble team, so I cannot say we're number 1, but we definitely have the confidence to say we're the top 3. First of all, have you heard of Bytom? Well, maybe yes. Due to our miraculous market behavior for the past 3 months in this bearish market, yes, we have been increasing. So first, the question is, what does Bytom do? The answer is we deal with the assets. So let me start with the asset. In the world, there are hundreds of thousands different kinds of assets. And even with a tremendous media exposure last year in 2017, Bitcoin is still a very small proportion among all the assets. So now it leads to the question, we all know how data and the message can be transferred or transmissioned in the internet. We use a fundamental protocol called TCP or IP protocol. And the question is, how does assets can be transferred from one to another? Well, from 2009, it was the first time ever in human history that Bitcoin appeared, and it makes it possible to transfer the asset from one individual to another in an instant without any central banks or any central authorities. It used the technology of blockchain, and which makes all the transactions public, transparent, decentralized, and uneditable. But Bitcoin indeed is a very great innovation, which personally I very love Bitcoin as well. But it also got some deficiency. First, it only supports one asset, that is Bitcoin. And second, Bitcoin is more about byword. It cannot connect, as Mr. Duan just mentioned, it cannot connect the Bitcoin with the real world assets. By real world physical assets, I mean by bonds, the stocks, or even ownership of your apartment, ownership of your houses or villas. And the third, as Susan just mentioned, the huge power consumption of Bitcoin mining equipment itself. So that's where Bytom was merged. This is our focus. Please see this quote from David Sack, the former PayPal COO. Ultimately, it is a technology for maximizing the efficiency of every asset, means the ownership, fluidity of the markets, and the mechanism of the payments. Our goal is to maximize the optimism and the maximization of the whole world economy. In the long run, the liquid assets like stocks could be moved onto the blockchain because of the benefit of the blockchain platform itself. So let's see a quick introduction of Bytom. First, our definition is we're a dedicated public chain protocol for assets, and our goal and our mission is to bridge between the byteword, which consists of code 1, code 0, to the real world assets, which, as just mentioned, like stocks or bonds or even or any physical assets you can think of. And so that leads us to the users of all the organizations or the users in the world needs to make their assets to flow freely. And we're facing a market worth $1 trillion. So probably you're gonna ask, there are thousands of different kinds of cryptocurrencies in the market. I'm sure there are many ones dealing with the assets as well. So why it has to be Bytom? Here are some of the advantages about Bytom. First, as I just explained, if we're different from Bitcoin is we support various different kinds of assets and registration and transmissions. And we do have a complete system of private key, account, contract, and assets. And second, we adopt UTXO model, which is very well known for its cross-chain mechanism. Every single UTXO assets can be packed into one UTXO output. And third is, we all know the security is a very big problem of the blockchain. We always hear about the parity attacks, the DAO event, and on Ethereum or even Bitcoin platform. Bytom separates its contract layer from its system process layer to make it more privacy and more security. And the last is also, it's for the Bitcoin huge power consumption is we adopt the AI chips into our miners, which was co-developed between Bytom and our partner Bitmain, who is the biggest manufacturer in the world for hardware. And it allows the miner to use, to generate the mattress mechanism itself. In this case, we can recycle the mining machines and make the powers consumptions to the minimum. And it also adds the AI acceleration for the miners itself. So here's some little landscape about Bytom. We have, until this moment, released 4 different versions of testnets. And this month, on April, our mainnet will be on very soon. And we have also held different meetups in the whole world, includes United States, Singapore, Japan, South Korea. Last month on March 18th, we also just held a meetup in Seoul with our with our partner Bytom. So our partners covers from the the biggest manufacturer in the world to the world's biggest exchanges includes Huobi, OKEX, and ABTC is the biggest blockchain media platform in China. And we also got a partnership in the cross-chain field with Wanchain. And on April 14th, we also just announced a partnership with Eastlake Big Data Exchange, which is 60% owned by the government, and it was the first domestic service organization to allow to explore and implement the government Big Data Explorer. So let me introduce my colleague, Arkin. We'll introduce you to and our main thing today is Bytom algorithm release. Thanks.
Greetings. It's an honor to stand here and to sharing about talking about two leading technology of today. One is blockchain, and the other is the AI computing today. And my topic is embrace the smart POW era, which is a simple future, one camera, one vote. Before I go up to the stair, I see somebody is watching their phone to check the Bytom's ranking in this world. Now we are ranking at the top 30, maybe it's 25, and it's just the beginning. So let's see. When talking about blockchain, the consensus mechanism is a core of blockchain system which ensures the distributed consensus among all parties. As we all know, the POW, which adopted by the Bitcoin, the proof of work, we call it, and we face something what if we want to do more? Or we cannot only treat it as a currency or trading. What if we want to do more? We found that there are 3 points that limit this development. The first thing is universality. As we can see, they mainly use the hashing method to calculating and to mining all these calculate, which cannot adopt by other terminal nodes and a lot of devices. And the second thing is about the hardware's waste. As we can see, we call them miners. And once there is a new generation of mining machine coming out, and all the previous version has gone down, you can treat it as trash or the iron, which is caused a huge waste. And the third thing is that, like this community, we need a full nodes community, and that we need run under multiple conditions. If the only use is to calculate the hashing method, it makes other peoples is not willing enough to join this community. So if this community don't have the enough amount of the joiners, it will not run reliable. So if we can solve these 3 problems, we may come to a new generation. We call it one camera, one vote. Why we think about one camera, one vote? You can see in the previous time, we always think about miners. But what if we combine the AI hashing together with the POW? We can find that the blockchain has immense impact on AI age computing. That we try our best, and we already find there should be an exclusive POW support consensus algorithm which removes the boundary between blockchain and AI. This may sound a little confused, and let's see how it works. The answer is that Bytom, we originally published our own AI-ASIC chips-friendly algorithm. Like the word, we can divide it into tensor, calculus, case. We adopted the important algorithm from the matrix operation and the convolution of AI computing. And we already published this paper, and later I will share the link if you can check the details. And now let's have a brief look at to see how it works, how it solved the problems we faced before. The first thing we talked before is universality. Let's see, in the previous version, like Bitcoin, he only do the Hashi method calculating, and now we use the constructor 3 matrix of 256 multiply triple times to get the results by multiplication, and then calculate the final knot through the SHA 256. And we cooperate with the Southwest Jiaotong University to prove that based this kind of calculation, the answer at all the amounts we turn out is also randomly controllable. And as we all know, like other smart devices, this kind of calculation can also use on their chips. So this means that this kind of calculation power, before we called it hashing power, this power can not only use in mining area and also in other accelerated area. The second thing is about the hardware's wasting. We already have a lively example. That is the Virtual Dutch company. This company, they have their GPU. They can rent their calculating power to both business sites and individual sites. And also, our ASIC chip, which can also mining the BTM, it's our original token, and also you can choose when their new generation higher calculating power came out, you can use the old one to be an AI acceleration. And the third thing is about, we realize that it can well-suited operating conditions. As we all know, the Apple, it has the Face ID, and all these kind of chips came out more and more. We find the financial report from ARMs that the number of chips will establish to reach 100 billion by 2020. And each smart devices, once you deploy these kind of chips, like the router or the camera or the smartphone or your iPad, it can have the ability to calculate this kind of calculating. So let's see the slogan we gave is 1 camera, 1 vote. Let's see the possible. First is that the monitoring camera is like a naturally well-suited devices for Bytom. The first thing is that it has a very, very huge fundamental amount. In China, now it's at least 1.7 billion monitoring camera, and its purpose that in the coming 5 years, the amount of the camera will more than all the mankind numbers. And second thing is that this kind of camera is 24 hours, 7 days a week, and with access to network and storage. We already have our test that if the camera runs the Bytom's net, it's only the power consumption only increased 1%, but which will reward more benefits. So in this way, we can see clearly about the Bytom and AI ecology. We have the devices to run this calculation, and we have the more users. And with these users, you can become the nodes of the whole network, and you can provide the hashing power. And with the hashing power, you can have the get the reward from the whole network, and you can find a consequence of the profitable, and so it can accelerate both the network and AI chips, and which will also lead to raise the amount of the devices. So in a word, Tensority is a secure and robust and AI ASIC chip-friendly consequence algorithm, and which all smart devices can run. And all our codes are open sourced on GitHub. You can check the GitHub and search for Bytom for the code. And also this paper is uploaded. So thank you. And if you have further questions, you can ask later. Yeah. And since that, as you can see, we always reading, and our team has done a lot of work before. And now we want to have a global market. So in this year, we may have a new office at USA. So I would like to introduce my colleague, to introduce to the hiring part. Eric. Let's welcome Eric. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Eric. I'm in charge of the Bytom. Hi everyone. Okay. In charge of the Bytom PR. And the next time, okay. These two people, Changjia and Duan Xinxing, are founder of the Bytom co-founder, yes. And the Duan Xinxing is the former of OpenCoin. And also OpenCoin is the most biggest exchange in the world. Okay. This is our development. And Lang Yu is the former of the Alipay engineer. Okay, and the next time is Zhu Yiqi. Zhu Yiqi is the senior blockchain director. And the next department is marketing department. And our staff is also have overseas education and working presence. Okay. And we also have, until 2008, we have hold the 5 Bytom meetup in Tokyo, Singapore, and so on. Okay. And we also have open positions, CM of Bytom, and the blockchain engineer, PR manager, and the overseas communication director, and the new media manager. And we need some new blogs, and we want you to join us. And we also think the blockchain change the world, and join us change the blockchain. And well, I also been in South Korea, have 5 years. 시간이 있으면 한국 친구들이 연락 주세요. That's all. Okay.
Today actually is a very big day for Bytom because it's our public first time ever for our Bytom algorithm. And they're very busy with, our dev team has been very busy with the coding and all the adjustment for the final mainnet launch. So here's a little VCR and video from our CTO, Lang Yu, who was, as Eric introduced, was former senior engineer in Alipay. And he wanted to send some greetings and a brief introduction about Bytom.
Hello everyone, I'm Lang Yu, CTO of Bytom. First of all, I want to thank you for coming to attend the Bytom's big day. Looking back, Bytom has gone through a difficult but meaningful journey with our supporters. I'm very happy to share the event of Bytom's consensus algorithm public release here. Bytom is a new blockchain project dedicated to the field of financial assets, to allow some valuable financial assets to circulate on the chain, such as bonds, equity, and even securities. Use a consensus mechanism with high reliable is quite essential, so proof of work is the only choice. Compared to Bitcoin, we innovatively invent a consensus algorithm called tensorities. It replaces Bitcoin's SHA-256 computation with tensor calculation with widely used AI system. As node to all, the more full nodes run, the more robust the chain is. Our new POW mechanism enables nearly 1 billion smart devices around the world to join the Bytom network. As a result, millions of people will know Bytom, understand Bytom, use Bytom to open their business, even enter the blockchain industry. Computing power of Bytom can be greatly increased as adopters increase. The chain will become more valuable. In addition, Bytom's mining farms can do a specific job for the AI cloud computing as well, like facial recognition, voice recognition. This is a win-win solution. Let us embrace the intelligent blockchain era.
Hello everyone, I'm Chang Jia, founder of ADBTC and Bytom. In addition, I'm a big fan of Bitcoin theory and published the first Bitcoin monograph in China. I clearly remember that the first time when I was exposed to Bitcoin, it was 2011. I discovered that Bitcoin and blockchain technologies have great potential to solve the huge problem in the real world right away. I'm totally into it, so we started ADBTC, which is the best blockchain community forum in China. Then we created Bytom, one of the top 3 most famous public chain projects in China. Bytom will not build another Bitcoin or another Ethereum. By using AI-friendly POW algorithm called tensority, Bytom becomes a bridge between digital world and the physical world, through which access can be transferred from atomic world to byte world. Meanwhile, improves the operational efficiency of the real economy. I believe that everyone here is very convinced of the great potential of blockchain. I'm happy to see many of you here to support Bytom and are keen on blockchain technology. Today, Bytom algorithm public release is a big day for Bytom. Bytom team here will introduce to everyone how to truly put blockchain's potential and version on the ground. I hope all of you will have a truly fruitful session with Bytom.
I'm really sorry for the sound. That is all about Bytom introduction now. So if you have any further question, you're very welcome to ask. Yes, please. Sorry, can you repeat the question again? The data ownership.
I don't understand where you get this data. What do you mean that's 60% data by government? Oh, I understand. Fine. You are talking about the East Lake data center, right? Data trading center? He's talking about
Oh, you mean 60% of data is owned by the government? No, and that's not what I meant. I mean, the shares of the whole exchange was 60% owned. The stocks or shares is owned by the government. Is that? It's not the data itself, and we don't know that. If you have any further question, you're very welcome to ask. Yes, please.
Just to confirm, I think so. There's a new algorithm that you've proven is successful, and you're saying that any smart device in the world, or most smart devices in the world, can be used to do the proof of work using that algorithm?
It's not all the smart devices. It's because of the chips. All the smart devices, what kind of apps it can run, it depends on the chips, you know that, right? It's because that I said that our calculating is combined, it's contained of matrix operation and convolution of the AI computing. So I don't know if you have, so these two kind of calculation is the fundamental of the graphic or image. So these kind of chips will, in the future, most smart devices will have the ability to do this kind of calculation. So if you have the ability to do this kind of calculation, you will have the ability to join this net and to do the mining. Yeah.
All the cameras of the chip in the world be combined to do the calculations of critical work.
If this camera have the AI chips, yeah. Any further question? No, all the code is outsourcing, and no need to design the specific AI chips. If the AI chips have this ability, we can deliver our algorithm to them, and he will have the ability, and he can to log in to this ecosystem. Yeah, it's different layers. Like they have the calculator, they have the foundation layer, have the ability to do this kind of calculation. Yeah. Camera on the car and on the cell phone, it's a good idea, but now I can directly thinking of two things that maybe caused confuse. The first thing is about privacy. As we all know, 今日头条 it caused some problem with these kind of things. And the second thing is that these kind of camera, they need to 24 hours or every minute to be used as camera. They have, I think, these kind of, they don't have the spare resource to do, they don't have spare time. I mean, although they are all cameras, but all cameras are designed for different uses. This kind of camera, I think it should only focus on its camera function. Yeah. But there still exists a lot of camera which no need to be 24 hours, runs about only for camera's function. It has the spare calculating resource which can be used to other things. Otherwise, it's kind of waste. Yeah. And we warmly welcome that because the spirit of us is open source. So if you have a little confused, also you can talk to your friends, and if they have some question, they can ask on the GitHub, and our engineer will reply it.